This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what's making headlines in Armenia today. Law enforcement swarmed the Yerevan offices of Electric Networks of Armenia this morning, as well as the home of board chairman Narek Karapetyan. The crackdown, tied to an economic crime investigation, is the latest move in a political and legal tug-of-war between the Armenian government and billionaire Samvel Karapetyan. Just days ago, lawmakers greenlit the nationalisation of ENA, a company Karapetyan owns, after the businessman publicly criticised the government's row with the church. Since then, it's been nothing but raids, detentions and rising voltage between the state and one of its wealthiest critics. As tensions blaze outside, the fire is spreading inside Armenia's National Assembly. Today's session erupted into chaos after opposition Member of Parliament Artsakh delivered an emotional speech, hinting at his impending arrest. "Everything is already decided," he said, before declaring he'd head to church with his family, then turn himself in. But what followed wasn't peace, it was pandemonium. Verbal insults turned physical. Lawmakers pushed and shoved each other. Security had to intervene. The session was abruptly cut short. At the heart of both these flashpoints, a widening political fault line, one that runs through the church, the energy sector, and Armenia's fragile democracy. Sargsyan, a supporter of Archbishop Bagrat Galstanyan, is facing terrorism-related charges tied to an alleged coup plot. Meanwhile, the government is cracking down on figures close to the church, including oligarchs like Karapetyan. Peace already exists. That's the bold claim from Azerbaijani presidential advisor Hikmet Hajiyev in an interview with a Slovak newspaper. With a confident tone, he declared the war between Armenia and Azerbaijan is over and insisted that a new status quo, based on legality and legitimacy, now reigns across the region. According to Hajiyev, calm has settled along the borders, and the focus is now on the future. He says both sides have already finalised the text of a peace agreement, yet one final step remains. Armenia must amend its constitution. Baku demands Yerevan remove any clauses it sees as territorial claims. "We speak openly, directly. No intermediaries," Hajiyev emphasised, noting that while disagreements remain, they're no longer military in nature but diplomatic. Even EU neighbours have disputes. What matters is, we've moved from conflict to conversation. While the narrative of peace is being pushed from Baku, the pressure on Yerevan is growing. A single signature, or a constitutional rewrite, could tip the scale between resolution and renewed tension. A Swiss-led delegation landed in Washington today, aiming to secure the safe return of displaced Armenians to Artsakh. Backed by lawmakers, former Armenian Foreign Minister Vartan Oskanyan and Christian Solidarity International's president, the group is promoting the Swiss Peace Initiative, a neutral framework pushing for international guarantees of security and human rights. The delegation stressed that any return must be rooted in legal protection and credible monitoring. Oskanyan underscored the urgency, recalling the blockade, violence and detentions faced by Artsakh's Armenians. Later today, they'll host a congressional briefing calling on US leaders to support Switzerland's plan and address the crisis faced by over 120,000 displaced people. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 140,000. That's how many working-age Armenians with disabilities are not just unemployed, but entirely excluded from the job market. Most have stopped even looking for work, worn down by years of systemic neglect, inaccessible workplaces, and ineffective state programmes. Despite promises of inclusion, only 18 people with disabilities were placed in permanent jobs last year through government support. Worse still, Armenia's new employment strategy for 2025 to 2031 doesn't even mention them as a priority group. Advocates say it's time for real reforms, like mandatory employment quotas and workplace adaptation, to ensure these citizens are no longer left out. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.